Today I'm joined by Chef Jimmy Papadopoulos, Executive Chef of Bohemian House in Chicago. Welcome, Chef Jimmy. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It's a pleasure to be here, thank you.
I hear we're cooking one of your specialties today.
Yes, this is our signature beef cheek pierogi. So a lot of times, pierogis are filled with potatoes and sour cream. We do ours with braised beef cheek. Why I love using cheek is because the texture of it. It has such a beautiful marbling, awesome collagen in it. When you braise it down, it adds for a really nice, unctuous, delicious, beefy kind of pierogi filling. We're gonna start the pan off nice and hot with a little bit of canola oil in a nice hot pan. The reason why the pan's so hot is we really want to get a good sear to add our sauce to make sure that our sauce gets really good flavor. So first thing in, beef goes in. Cool. Now the next thing we're going to add to the pan as that sears, Basha, is onions, carrots, and celery. If you can go ahead and grab some for me, we'll just gently throw some in there. Just watch the oil. Thank you so much.
I'll take the celery.
Now you notice how I left everything nice and big, right?
Yeah.
That being, the beef cheek has to cook for about a good 4 hours. 4.5, probably even 5 hours actually. So I wanted the mirepoix, the onions and the carrots and the celery, large enough so they wouldn't break down. We're gonna throw a couple of cloves of garlic in there too. While this is searing off, it's gonna take about a good 4 or 5 minutes to get the good color that we want.
Okay.
We're gonna start rolling out our pierogi dough. This is a very classic recipe. My old sous chef actually gave to me. Her grandmother was Polish and this is her recipe. So it was really guarded, close family recipe. And it's with sour cream, a little bit of eggs and flour. I'm not really that good at rolling. I'm sure you could probably do a better job than I.
all right, I'll do the rolling.
Pass the tough jobs on to you.
Yeah, I grew up in a family that cooked like that. Whatever my dad didn't want to do, that's when Mom got called into the kitchen.
So Mom was peeling onions and garlic and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I do that a lot in the kitchen and they're called prep cooks. I just peel this, do that, and it's
See,
awful.
that would have made us feel a lot better as kids. Being called sous chefs instead of like, hey, you.
Having a title, right. Having a title as a kid.
Most people associate pierogi with Polish cuisine.
Right.
But your restaurant is actually Bohemian style.
Correct,
So tell me a little bit more about how pierogi falls into that.
So for me, when I was crafting the menu, I didn't want to be pigeonholed into being just Czech or just Bohemian food. So ultimately, designing the menu, when you look at the cuisines of Central and Eastern Europe, you tend to see a lot of the same dishes just kind of almost used from culture to culture, right? From country to country. So in doing that, it was kind of a very fun project to really kind of craft the menu and more so curate it as like a European-inspired menu versus just being Bohemian. So we have pierogi, we have spätzle, we have goulash, we have all these different dishes that you'll notice all throughout Eastern and Central Europe. All represented on our menu in a fun, modern way.
Your chefs must have awesome arm muscles.
We have a lady named Rosa. She spends 40 hours a week just making pierogis for us. So she's just downstairs rolling dough, filling pierogi.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
I think we're there.
Nice. I'm gonna go ahead and deglaze the pan right now.
Okay.
This is a bit of red wine. I love red wine. We use port wine because it adds a really nice sweetness to the sauce. So. Cool, so the wine's kind of reducing down a little bit. We can go ahead and punch our pierogis out.
Okay.
Awesome, now this wine is looking like it's pretty much reduced by about half. So at this point, what I'll do is I have a little bit of veal stock that we pre-made ahead of time. You could use chicken or beef or whatever you have at home. And I just want to put enough in just to kind of come up the sides of the beef. I don't want it to be too much.
So we're not completely covering the beef, just
right.
Halfway up
Exactly.
the
If you
sides.
cover it too much, it'll just kind of boil, and you'll lose a lot of that flavor from the beef cheek itself. So I want to just enough to cover the side. We'll put a lid on this. We'll pop it into a 250-degree oven and let it braise for about a good 4.5 hours.
So how's my speed on cutting these? Am I approaching Rosa or probably not at all?
I think Rosa would have you beat by about 4 times, but 4 times over. But I think you can catch up. I mean, it's your first time doing it.
This one's
here,
a little oddly shapen, but we're just gonna leave it.
Awesome. Great. After it's been braised for about a good 4.5 hours, what we'll do is we'll pull the meat out and we'll pick all of it apart. What I have here in this pot is actually the finished braised meat itself. So what I have is some sauteed onions with the picked beef cheek meat, and this is the base for our pierogi. This is the filling. So
Great, so this is after it's come out of the oven.
Right, after
all
it's
that great
spent all
flavor
that
developed.
time building all the love and everything that it needs. So
And
what
we've
I'm gonna
lost
do,
all the vegetables at this point.
Yeah, you're right. All the veg is gone. So we're gonna put a nice little dollop in the middle of each pierogi. And what you can do is actually just dip your finger in that water and just run the edge of the pierogi around the meat.
You're lucky that you have very authentic dough because you're testing the elasticity of it with these portions.
Right. This is the actually this The fun part is actually stuffing them. So for me, I learned this technique actually from Rosa. What she does is she picks up the dough kind of like this, and she almost makes a little cradle like this, like so you can see the bottom's empty. And she'll just kind of push around the edges and then pinch up.
Beautiful.
So she kind of almost like pushes the dough in. I'm still not as good as her at it, but nonetheless.
If it was up to us to run Boho, we'd be very slow in the pierogi.
We'd probably have about 3 orders a day, and then everybody would be
All right,
out of
let me
luck.
try this method.
Perfect.
I think I got lucky. I think mine had less filling.
You made that look easy. Beautiful. Water's at a nice boil. Got my nice little strainer here. We're just gonna drop them in one at a time.
All right.
And we're just boiling them until they float, because the filling's already cooked and warm. The dough just needs to really cook, so.
What's your chef's trick to keep from getting splashed as you're dropping them into the pot of boiling water?
Don't be aggressive. Treat the water very respectfully because it's extremely hot. So like you did, you kind of just put it in, you just gently let it go. That's probably the best way.
Yeah.
So you're not over here just, throwing them at the water, just getting, that would be bad. So now these guys are nice and floating. They're they're floating up at the top of the water and everything. The 2 things that we can do, you can either take them out, drain them, and then saute them in butter for a little crispy texture, which is how we do that at the restaurant. Another way that we do them too is we take the actual braising liquid from the beef cheeks, reduce it down with a little bit of garlic and some more fresh port wine, just to kind of fortify the sauce. And then I'm just gonna pop the pierogi right into that broth just to finish their cooking almost, and so they kind of become one, the dough becomes one with that beautiful braising liquid. And this is where we take a little spin on the classic. Okay, so now that the pierogis have really kind of soaked up into that jus, what we want to do is bring them to the plate.
Okay, I'll grab the plate.
Fantastic. So what I love to do is just literally kind of just arrange them randomly. One of these nice, beautiful little plates we have.
Yeah, and let's talk about this plate. It reminds me of being home, like in my grandma's kitchen or something like that.
Totally, yeah. That's I feel like when you go out to restaurants, it's very sensory driven, right? You look at the ambiance, the food, it all has to come together to really make something special. So when I started picking out plateware for Bohemian House, I really wanted to make sure that we had these touches that kind of made you feel real comforted and homey, and it had that really nice eclectic kind of a vibe to it. So to finish the dish, we're literally just gonna scatter a couple of roasted carrots around it.
I like that you are using like the heirloom ones, got a little bit of that yellow in there too.
Yeah, we shop at Green City Market 2 times a week, and what we'll do is we'll pick up some amazing local produce. And then right here, these are the pickled onions that we're finishing it off with. We're gonna finish with a little bit of fresh dill.
Which is a very traditional accompaniment with pierogi in Polish cuisine.
Yep, and to finish the dish, we'll just use some beautiful little edible flowers to kind of really make it pop.
Oh, that's so pretty. And it ties the dish together, even with the plate. You have the flowers and then those cute little edible flowers right on top.
Exactly.
This looks amazing. Thank you so much, Chef Jimmy, for sharing your recipe with us. This is Chef Jimmy's Beef Cheek Pierogi.